What these problems look like is you're going to be given a point where they only give you one of the numbers. And then you're going to be given another point where they give you both of the numbers. And they're going to tell you what the slope equals. And the question is to find the value of y. We're going to do one with graph paper for people who like graphing. And then I'm going to do 3 more using algebra, and you might like the algebra better. So this problem says we know the point 8, 8. What we don't know is that this point, we don't know the y-coordinate of that point. We know the x-coordinate is -2. So what I'm going to do is draw a little line. I know that the x-coordinate has to be -2. I don't know what the y is. I'm going to draw points until I hit this line. That's my finish line. This is one way to solve these problems, and certainly not the only way to solve these problems. The slope is 2, which means that's 2 over 1. So I'm going to use this idea of rise over run for slope to find all these points from -8, -8, all the way up to where it has an x-coordinate of -2. I think that might be a little confusing until you watch me do it. So there's my slope. That's my starting point. I'm going to go up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over until I hit that line. It's going to be up in here somewhere. Okay, so here we go. Rise over run. I got to go up 2 and over 1. And there's the new point. And when you have to graph lines, you can always do it from a point and a slope because you can use the slope to find the other points. So from the new point, I go up 2, over 1, and I find another point. Up 2, I'm just going to keep repeating this until I hit this yellow line because that's my finish line. Once I hit there, I have my answer. Up 2, over 1. This is a hella interesting point where it touches the x-axis, but it's not what I want. I need to keep going. Up 2, over 1. Looks like I got to just do one more. Up 2, over 1. Boom! Ta-da! Okay, the x-coordinate here is -2 because we hit the -2 line. So I know that that's true. -2. But what we want to know is the y-coordinate. It's 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. So y equals 4 is the answer. This process is always going to work. Sometimes it's going to be a little tricky. You're going to run into some trouble if the slopes are negative. That might cause you some issues. If that's the case, then call me over and I'll talk you through how to do it when the slopes are negative. It's going to be the same problem. We're just going to do it a different way. With this method, we're going to use the slope formula to help set up an equation we can solve. We're going to write down the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that equals 2. I'm going to label these so I know where they go in the formula. X1, Y1, and then this one's X2, Y2. I always still do this even though I've been doing this like my whole life. It's just that if I get distracted, I put the numbers in the wrong spots. So these are the placeholders, and these are the numbers that are going to go in those spots. So Y2 is -8. Minus is from this formula, Y1 is Y. Over x2 is -8 minus x1 is -2. And since that's a negative, I'm going to put that in parentheses. And all that still equals the slope 2. Yeah, that'll turn into a plus. So we have -8 minus y over -8 plus 2. That equals 2. Because a double negative minus a minus is a positive. So I have -8 minus y over -8 plus 2 is -6. And that equals 2. Okay, from here, we have an equation that has a denominator equal to a whole number. The best way to solve this is to multiply the fraction part by its denominator, which is -6. And if you multiply that side, you got to multiply this side too. What you are doing when you multiply a fraction times its own denominator, you are releasing the numerator. You don't multiply times the numerator. The numerator is trapped here. We want to free it, and so that will cancel. -8 minus y is now free, And we have 2 times negative 6, which is negative 12. There's going to be a lot of negative signs in these problems because the formula for slope has a minus in it. From here, we're going to add 8 to both sides. And that cancels this, but it doesn't cancel the negative that's on the y. So drop that completely down. Negative y equals negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4. It feels like it's done there, but it's not. They didn't ask us to find negative y, they asked us to find positive y. You can do this with math, like you can multiply both sides times negative 1 or divide both sides by negative 1, and other teachers may have done that. I think it just makes more sense to use common sense. If negative y equals negative 4, then positive y equals positive 4. And we are done. And that's what we got when we graphed it. It was the same answer.
Can I say something? Miss White is the best teacher in the whole wide world, and you guys should subscribe to her YouTube.
She's really supportive, and honestly, when you come to this class, you're like set up to pass.
Oh!
Example number 3. A lot of slopes are fractions, and so when this happens, the solving gets kind of weird towards the end. I do the same thing. I write the slope formula so I know what I'm going to use to set up the equation. I'm setting it equal to 2/3 because they're telling me that's what the slope is. I label my points so I know where I'm going to put all the numbers and not make any mistakes with that. Now I'm going to pop the numbers into the formula and then start solving this. So y2 is the first number and it's negative 3 minus y1, which is negative 1. Put some parentheses here because you got that double negative going on. You don't want to drop a negative, otherwise you'll make a mistake that'll screw up the answer. x2 is x. That's the thing we're looking for. Minus from the formula. And then x1 is positive 5, so I just write the 5. I don't need to put parentheses on it. Equals 2/3. The next line, I'm going to make that a plus. Negative 3 plus the 1. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. And then I have x minus 5 in the denominator, and then I have 2/3. The next move is something we haven't done in this class this year yet. You've done it before. You probably did it in middle school, but for a lot of kids that I'm working with right now, they were on distance learning during the pandemic in middle school. We're going to cross multiply. You may remember how to do it, you may never have seen it before, so I'm going to show you. With cross multiplication, you use it when you have a fraction equal to a fraction, and one of these things has an x or some kind of an unknown there. We're going to take those two times each other. 2 times x minus 5 equals, and then you write the answer for what you get when you take these guys in these corners times each other. So you're actually making a cross, which is why we call it cross multiply. So negative 2 times 3. You get rid of the fractions and you make one line. Now we do distributive property. And we do all the multiplication in here so that we can solve this. We have 2 times x is 2x. We have 2 times negative 5, which is negative 10. And that equals negative 6. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. We get 2x equals negative 6 plus 10 is a positive 4. Divide both sides by 2 in your head. We get x equals 2. Negative 7, negative 3, x, negative 8. It's going to be a negative slope. When they print it, they put that minus sign out in front. That causes a little bit of a problem, and I'm going to show you how we're going to deal with it. The reason that's a problem is because you don't know yet if it's negative 5 or if it's negative 8. But we know that it's not both. Because the fraction is negative, that means only one of those numbers is negative. When they put the negative sign outside, you don't know which one was negative. We'll figure that out as we start doing this. I start again the same way, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that equals negative 5/8. So y2 is negative 8 minus y1, which is negative 3, over x2, which is x, minus x1, which is negative 7, equals negative 5/8. I'm going to clean up these double negatives. When you're subtracting a negative number, it turns into a plus. So we now have negative 8 plus 3 over x plus 7. And that still equals negative 5/8, but I think in the next line we're going to know exactly which one of these is going to get the negative sign. Negative 8 plus 3 actually equals negative 5. That kind of clears it all up right there. X plus 7 is still in the denominator. And then over here I'm just going to go ahead and move that negative sign up there because we now see that this is negative 5 on top on this side. It's equal to negative 5 over the 8 is positive. If you put the negative 8 on the bottom, then the tops won't match. Then you'll have to cross multiply, and the answer will come out the same either way. But watch, I'm going to show you this little shortcut here. Because those two match each other, and this is an equation, that means the only thing that's unknown is the thing on the bottom. So instead of cross multiplying, which is a lot of work, I'm now just going to say x plus 7 has to equal 8, so then x equals 1, and I'm done with the problem much faster. Okay, let me get the whole problem up on the screen so that you guys can see the whole thing. If you have any questions on any line here and you don't know what I did, put that question in the comments and I will answer all the questions in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you are in algebra, please click into the algebra playlist right now. If you're in geometry, click into the geometry playlist. Bye. See you next time.